They had been on the road for almost 6 hours when Daniel suggested they stop. It was past midnight and the highway had become nearly empty, just a few distant headlights now and then, disappearing into the darkness. They were driving along US Route 50, somewhere in the middle of Nevada, a road often called the loneliest road in America. Emily stretched in her seat and looked out the window. There was nothing. No houses, no lights. Just miles of desert and a sky so dark it felt endless. "Let's keep going," she said softly. "I don't like this place." Daniel smiled, trying to reassure her. "It's just desert. We'll hit a town soon." But the GPS said otherwise. The next stop was over 70 miles away. They kept driving. 10 minutes passed, then 20. The road didn't change. Same straight line. Same silence. Then Emily noticed something ahead. There's someone on the road. Daniel leaned forward slightly. At first, he thought it was a signpost, but it moved. A person was standing in the middle of their lane. They were still far enough to react, but something about the figure felt wrong. It wasn't waving. It wasn't moving. It was just standing there. Daniel slowed the car. "Maybe they need help," he said. Emily shook her head immediately. "No, don't stop." As they got closer, the headlights illuminated the figure more clearly. It looked like a woman. She wore something light-colored, almost like a dress, but it hung strangely, as if it didn't fit her body. Her arms were at her sides. Her head was tilted slightly downward. Daniel slowed even more. "Hey," he called out through the windshield, as if she could hear him. No reaction. Emily grabbed his arm. "Daniel, something's wrong." He could feel it now too, that instinct, that quiet voice telling you to leave. He pressed the accelerator. The car moved faster. As they passed her, the woman turned her head, not her body, just her head. Emily gasped. "Don't look at her." Daniel kept his eyes forward, but in the rearview mirror he saw it. The woman was now facing their car completely, watching them. Then she began to walk, not toward the shoulder, toward the center of the road, following them. Daniel tried to laugh it off. Probably just someone lost, but his voice sounded forced. Emily didn't respond. She was staring at the side mirror. "Daniel," he didn't want to ask, but he did. "What?" "She's closer." His stomach dropped. "That's not possible." They hadn't slowed down. They were already going over 60 miles per hour. Daniel checked the mirror. For a split second, he saw her, much closer than before, walking, slowly, but somehow keeping up. He stepped harder on the gas. The engine roared as the car pushed forward into the empty highway. The woman disappeared from the mirror. Daniel exhaled. "See? It's fine." But Emily didn't relax. She was staring at the passenger side window. Her face had gone pale. "Daniel?" He felt it before he looked. That sensation, like someone standing too close. He turned his head. The woman was outside his window, keeping pace with the car. Her face was now visible, and it wasn't right. Her eyes were too dark. Her mouth hung slightly open, as if she was trying to speak, but couldn't. Daniel swerved instinctively. The car drifted into the next lane before he corrected it. When he looked again, she was gone, completely gone. Neither of them spoke for several minutes. The silence inside the car felt heavier than before. Then the radio turned on by itself. Static filled the cabin. Then a voice came through, soft, broken. "Why didn't you stop?" Emily covered her mouth. Daniel reached for the radio, but before he could turn it off, the voice spoke again. Louder this time. "You left me there." The radio cut out. Dead silence. They didn't stop until they reached a small gas station near Ely. Inside, the clerk listened quietly as they explained what had happened. He didn't look surprised. He just nodded slowly. "Middle of the road, right?" Daniel felt his chest tighten. "Yeah." The man leaned on the counter. "You're not the first." According to him, drivers had reported seeing a woman on that stretch of highway for years, always alone, always in the road, and always at night. Some said she was a hitchhiker who died there decades ago. Others believed something else entirely, but every story had one detail in common. If you stop for her, she doesn't ask for a ride. Daniel and Emily left before sunrise. Neither of them wanted to be on that road again after dark. Years later, Daniel was asked about that night during a road trip interview. He stayed quiet for a long moment. Then he said something that still unsettles anyone who hears it. When I checked the car the next morning, he paused. There were handprints on the passenger door. Not outside. Inside. They were not supposed to be on that road. Marcus had taken a wrong exit nearly 40 minutes earlier while driving through Texas, trying to save time, but the GPS had lost signal and never recovered. Now they were stuck on a narrow 2-lane road with no lights, no signs, and no other cars in sight. The darkness around them felt too heavy, like the road itself was cut off from everything else. Sophia looked at his phone again and shook her head. There was still no signal. She leaned back and stared out the window, uneasy. "We should turn around," she said. Marcus sighed, keeping his eyes on the road. "There's nowhere to turn." They kept going. Minutes passed, but the road never changed. No houses, no intersections, nothing. Just that same endless stretch of asphalt. Then they saw it. A car parked on the side of the road. Marcus slowed slightly, relieved to finally see something. The driver's door was open, and a faint interior light was glowing inside. "Finally," he said quietly. "Maybe someone needs help." Sophia didn't answer right away. She was staring at the car. "Don't stop," she said. Marcus frowned. "Why?" "I don't know. Something's wrong." He hesitated, but curiosity got the better of him. He pulled over and stopped a few meters behind the car. The engine idled softly, and the silence outside felt unnatural. As soon as Marcus opened his door and stepped out, the interior light of the other car shut off instantly, like someone had flipped a switch. He froze. "Marcus, get back in the car," Sophia said, her voice low and tense, but he was already walking toward it. "Hello?" he called out. No answer. The open door moved slightly with the wind. When he reached the car and looked inside, the seat was empty. The keys were still in the ignition, but there was no phone, no bag, nothing that suggested someone had just left. Then he heard something behind him, a soft sound, like footsteps moving through dry grass. He turned quickly, but there was nothing there, just darkness stretching into the fields. "Marcus," Sophia whispered. He looked back at her and immediately knew something was wrong. She wasn't looking at him. She was looking past him. "Get in the car," she said. "What is it?" Her voice shook. "There's something behind you." Marcus felt his body tense, but this time, he didn't want to turn around. Every instinct told him to run. Still, he turned slowly. There was a figure standing a few feet behind him. It was tall, unnaturally thin, and completely still. Its arms hung too long at its sides, and its face was impossible to make out, like the darkness itself was covering it. Marcus stepped back. The figure stepped forward. That was enough. He ran back to the car, jumped inside, and locked the doors. "Go!" Sophia shouted. Marcus pressed the gas, and the car surged forward onto the empty road. Neither of them spoke for a while. The silence inside the car felt suffocating. Then Sophia said quietly, "Marcus." He tightened his grip on the wheel. "What?" "The car we stopped at. It's behind us." Marcus checked the mirror. It was there. The same car, headlights still off, following them at a steady distance. "That's not possible," he said under his breath. No matter how fast he drove, it stayed there, silent, unlit. Then the interior light inside that car turned on again, and this time someone was sitting in the driver's seat. Sophia leaned forward, her voice barely above a whisper. "That's not a person." The figure inside turned its head toward them in a sharp, unnatural motion. A second later, the headlights turned on. Blinding. The car accelerated, closing the distance. Marcus pushed his car faster, Heart pounding, eyes locked on the road, and then, without warning, the car behind them disappeared. No turn, no sound, just gone. They didn't stop until they reached a small town near Abilene. At a gas station, an older man listened carefully to their story, then nodded as if he had heard it before. "That road shouldn't be used at night," he said. Marcus frowned. "Why?" The man looked toward the highway. "People report abandoned cars out there all the time." Sophia swallowed. "And the drivers?" The man hesitated, then answered quietly. "They're usually found in the fields." Marcus felt a chill run down his spine. "Alive?" The man shook his head slowly. "Not exactly. Marcus and Sophia left as soon as they could. They never found that road again, not on any map, not on any GPS. And years later, Marcus still couldn't forget one detail. When the figure stepped toward him, it didn't walk. It leaned, like it had already been closer than it should have been. They had left Phoenix late, thinking they could make it to Flagstaff before sunrise, but somewhere along the drive they decided to take a shortcut, something Daniel found on his phone before losing signal. A smaller road that cut away from the main highway and climbed slowly into darker, emptier terrain. At first, it didn't feel like a mistake. The road was paved, smooth, quiet, and honestly faster than the interstate. But after about 20 minutes, the surroundings started to change. Fewer signs, no other cars, and the trees getting thicker the further they went, until the only light came from their own headlights stretching into the dark. Maya shifted in her seat and looked out the window, then back at Daniel. "Are you sure this is right?" He nodded, even though he wasn't completely sure anymore. "Yeah. It should reconnect up ahead." But it didn't. The road kept going, narrow and silent, with no indication that it led anywhere at all. Then they saw the lights. Far ahead, faint at first, then clearer as they got closer. A car, parked on the side of the road. Its headlights were on, but pointed slightly off, illuminating nothing but trees. Daniel slowed a little. "Someone stopped." Maya leaned forward, squinting. "Do you see anyone?" As they got closer, the car came into full view. The driver's door was closed, windows dark, no movement inside, just the headlights, still on. Daniel felt something shift in his chest, that same quiet instinct telling him to keep driving, but curiosity made him slow even more. "Maybe they broke down," he said. Maya didn't answer. She was staring at the car. "Daniel, keep going." He hesitated, then nodded and pressed the gas slightly, choosing not to stop. As they passed, Maya turned just enough to look inside. Then she froze. "Daniel." He didn't look. "What?" "There's someone in there." He felt his grip tighten on the wheel. "In the driver's seat?" Maya shook her head slowly. "No, in the back." Daniel forced himself not to react, just focusing on the road ahead as they continued driving. "Probably just someone sleeping," he said, though even he didn't believe it. Maya kept looking back through the rear window. It wasn't moving. It was just sitting there. Daniel didn't respond. He didn't want to think about it. Minutes passed. The road didn't change. No turns, no signs, nothing. Just the same endless stretch through the trees. Then Maya spoke again. "Daniel, slow down." "Why?" "The car." He checked the mirror. It was behind them. Same headlights, same car, keeping a steady distance. "That's not possible," he said under his breath. "They didn't pass us," Maya whispered. Daniel sped up. The car followed. Same distance, same speed. No matter what he did, it stayed there. Then the headlights flickered once, then again, and suddenly, they turned off. The car vanished into the darkness. Daniel exhaled, tension leaving his shoulders. Okay, it's gone. But Maya didn't relax. She was staring ahead again. Daniel. He already knew, but he looked anyway. The car was in front of them, exactly the same. Same headlights, same position, like it had always been there. Daniel's hands tightened on the wheel. That's not real. Maya leaned closer to the windshield. Look at the back seat. He didn't want to, but he did. The figure was still there, sitting upright, perfectly still, facing forward. Then, slowly, it moved. Its head turned, not toward them, but toward the rearview mirror, as if it knew they were watching it. Daniel slammed the gas. The engine roared as they pushed forward, trying to close the distance, trying to pass it, trying to break whatever was happening. But the distance never changed. The car stayed ahead, unreachable, unavoidable. Then suddenly, the road ended. Not gradually, not with a warning. It just stopped. Trees, nothing else. Daniel hit the brakes hard, the car skidding slightly before stopping just feet from the edge. Both of them sat there, breathing heavily. The headlights illuminated nothing but forest. No path forward, no continuation of the road. Maya whispered, "Where did it go?" Daniel looked around. The other car was gone. No headlights, no sound, nothing. Just the quiet of the woods. They turned around immediately, driving back the way they came. And within 10 minutes, they were back on the main highway. Bright lights, other cars, normal again. Neither of them spoke for a long time, until Maya finally said something. "Daniel." He kept his eyes on the road. "What?" "That road. It's not on the map." He swallowed. "I know." She hesitated. "And that car?" Daniel's voice dropped. "Don't." But she said it anyway. "When we passed it the first time," she paused, "there was no one in the driver's seat." Daniel didn't answer, because now he realized something worse. When it was in front of them, there still wasn't. They had been driving most of the night, heading north through New Mexico after leaving El Paso later than planned, and by the time they reached the long, empty stretch of US Route 54, the road had gone completely quiet, with no cars ahead and none behind, just a straight line cutting through darkness that felt deeper than it should have been. At first, it was just fatigue, or at least that's what Luis told himself when Anna mentioned that something felt off, because the road didn't seem to change no matter how long they drove. The same distant hills, the same faint outlines of fences, the same silence pressing in from all sides like the world outside the car had stopped moving. Luis tried to shake it off, focusing on the road, keeping a steady speed. But after a while, even he started to notice it. The strange repetition of everything around them, as if they were passing the same stretch again and again without realizing it. Then Anna pointed ahead and said quietly that there was something in the road. Luis leaned forward slightly, narrowing his eyes, and at first it looked like debris, maybe a bag or something that had fallen off a truck. But as they got closer, the shape became clearer, and his hands tightened on the wheel. It was a person, standing in the middle of the lane, not moving, not signaling for help, just standing there, facing away from them. Luis slowed down instinctively, unsure of what he was looking at, while Anna's voice came out tense as she told him not to stop. Not here, not on this road. But it was too late to ignore it now. As the headlights reached the figure, it became clearer that it was a man, tall, thin, wearing what looked like dark clothing that blended too easily with the night around him. And even when the light hit him directly, he didn't react, didn't turn, didn't move at all. Luis felt that same instinct again, stronger now, telling him to keep going. So instead of stopping, he slowly steered around the figure, giving as much space as possible without leaving the road. As they passed him, Anna turned slightly to look, and for a brief second, she saw his face. Or at least, where his face should have been. She didn't scream, but she pulled back instantly, pressing herself against the seat. Luis didn't ask what she saw, because he didn't want to know. And for a moment, they both stayed silent, letting the car move forward, putting distance between them and whatever that had been. Then Luis checked the rearview mirror. The man was still there. But now, he was facing them. Luis felt his chest tighten, because he knew that wasn't possible. They had just passed him, and he hadn't seen him turn, not even slightly. Anna's voice came out low. "He's closer." Luis shook his head immediately. No, he's not. But when he looked again, the distance had changed. The man was no longer standing where they had left him. He was walking, not running, not rushing, just walking forward at a slow, steady pace. And somehow, he was getting closer. Luis pressed the gas, the engine responding as the car picked up speed. But the feeling didn't go away. That pressure in his chest, that sense that something was wrong in a way he couldn't explain. Anna kept watching the mirror, unable to look away. "He's still coming." Luis didn't respond. He didn't need to. He could feel it. Then the radio turned on. No music, no station, just static. Luis reached to turn it off, but before he could, a voice came through, low and distorted, like it was being forced through something that didn't quite work. "You shouldn't have passed me." Anna covered her mouth. Luis's hand froze over the radio. The voice came again, clearer this time. "I was waiting." Luis turned the radio off instantly, but the silence that followed felt worse than the sound. Neither of them spoke. They just drove. Faster now, desperate to reach anything that looked normal. Lights, a sign, another car, anything. After what felt like too long, they finally saw headlights in the distance, coming from the opposite direction. And for the first time since all of it started, Luis felt a small sense of relief. Another driver. Something real. As the car approached, its headlights washed over them, and for a brief moment, the inside of their car lit up completely. And in that moment, Anna saw something in the reflection of the windshield. She didn't want to say it, but she had to. "Luis." He kept his eyes on the road. "What?" Her voice trembled. "He's not behind us anymore." Luis felt his stomach drop. He already knew what she was going to say next, but hearing it made it worse. "He's in the back seat." Luis didn't turn around. He didn't stop the car. He didn't say a word. He just kept driving, because somewhere on that empty stretch of road in New Mexico, they had already let him in. They almost didn't take that road, and later that would be the only thing both of them agreed on, because everything that happened after felt like it started with that one small decision, turning off the main highway somewhere outside Little Rock and following a poorly lit county road that cut through miles of forest with no traffic and no signal. Jason had seen it on the map before the GPS went blank, a shortcut that looked harmless, maybe even faster, but after 20 minutes of driving, neither of them felt that. anymore because the road had changed in a way that was hard to explain. The trees were too close, the darkness too thick, and the air itself felt still, like nothing moved out there unless it wanted to. Claire noticed it first when she looked at the time on the dashboard and realized it hadn't changed in a while, not frozen exactly, but repeating, like it would go forward a minute and then slip back again. And when she mentioned it, Jason laughed it off, blaming the car, blaming the signal, anything but what it actually felt like. Then they saw the house. It appeared suddenly on the side of the road, barely visible between the trees. A small wooden structure with a single light on inside, glowing faintly through a dirty window. Jason slowed down without thinking. Claire immediately felt it. "Don't stop," she said. "I'm not stopping," he answered, but he didn't speed up either. The house didn't look abandoned, but it didn't look right either. The front door was open, just slightly, enough to notice. As they passed, Claire turned her head just a little, trying not to look too long, and that's when she saw something move inside. Not clearly, just a shift, like someone stepping back into the darkness. Jason, he kept his eyes forward. "What? There's someone in there." He didn't respond. He just pressed the gas a little more, putting distance between them and the house. Neither of them spoke for a minute. Then Jason checked the mirror. The house was still visible. Too visible. They had been driving for longer than that. It should have disappeared by now, but it didn't. It stayed there, far behind them, but not getting smaller. Claire felt her chest tighten. "That's not right." Jason didn't answer. He kept driving, faster now, but the house stayed in the mirror. Same size, same light, same open door. Then something changed. Claire leaned forward slightly, her eyes locked on the reflection. "Jason? What?" The door. He didn't want to look, but he did. In the mirror, the door was opening wider, slowly, from where they were. Miles away. They both saw it. The light inside flickered once, then steadied, and something stepped into the doorway, too tall to be a person, too thin. Its head nearly touched the top of the frame. Jason's hands tightened on the wheel. "That's just distance messing with us," he said, but his voice didn't sound convincing. Claire didn't respond. She was still staring. "It's not staying in the doorway." Jason felt a chill run down his spine. "What do you mean?" "It's stepping outside." He looked again, and for a second, everything inside him went cold, because the thing wasn't just standing there anymore. It was on the road, behind them. Jason slammed the gas. The car surged forward, engine roaring against the silence of the forest. But when he checked the mirror again, the house was gone, completely gone. No light, no door, nothing, just empty darkness. Claire exhaled shakily. "Okay, it's gone." Jason nodded, but he didn't slow down. He didn't trust it. Not anymore. Minutes passed. Then the road curved slightly, and something appeared ahead. Jason's heart dropped instantly. The same house, right in front of them, on the side of the road, exactly the same. Same light. Same open door. Claire whispered. No. Jason didn't slow down this time. He drove straight past it, faster, not even looking. But Claire did. And this time, the doorway was empty. She swallowed. "It's not inside anymore." Jason didn't respond. He didn't need to, because he already knew. The radio turned on. Static filled the car. Then a voice came through, low, close, not through the speakers, inside the car. "You passed my house." Claire covered her mouth. Jason reached for the radio, but his hand stopped halfway, because the voice wasn't coming from the dashboard. It was behind them, in the back seat. "Why didn't you come in?" Neither of them turned around. Neither of them moved. The car kept going, faster, but the feeling didn't leave. That presence, that weight, that certainty. They were no longer alone. They didn't stop until they reached a gas station miles later, just outside Memphis, where lights and people and noise finally made everything feel real again. They didn't talk about it at first, not until they were inside, under bright lights, trying to convince themselves it had been stress or exhaustion or anything else. But Claire finally said it, very quietly. "Jason." He looked at her. "What?" She hesitated. then spoke. When we passed the house the second time, he waited. The door wasn't open. Jason felt his stomach drop. What do you mean? Claire's voice shook. It was closed. She looked toward the parking lot, and something was already outside. If you enjoyed tonight's stories, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more true horror every week. And if you have a terrifying story of your own, send it to the email in my channel's profile. Your story might be featured in a future video. Thank you for watching, and remember, sometimes the scariest things aren't the ones you can see. Good night.